If I look at my image, you'll see a little circle with a black dot in the middle of it on the picture. That little thing is known as a pin, and it represents wherever I first clicked to apply this adjustment. You see it? It's like in the middle of some guy's head. If I move my mouse on top of it and I just hover over it without clicking, it should put a red overlay on my picture that shows me what part of the image is changing. That's the part I painted on. That's what I've isolated to work on. Now I notice that when I see that red overlay, that some of the red overlay overlaps the bottles at the bottom. And those bottles might be in the other room, the room that we're standing in when we took the photograph. And so if I want to get that overspray onto the bottles off of there, what I can do is at the bottom where it defines my brush, I can choose the option called erase. I just click on the word erase, and now it's thinking about erasing things, and you actually get different brush settings because it wants it so that if you switch back and forth between adding to your adjustment and erasing your adjustment, that you can have different brush looks. So I can come in here and now just paint over the bottle and paint over the other bottle and try to get that off of the image. The only problem is I would only see that overlay when I mouse over that pin like this. And so it's hard for me to tell where I need to paint to get rid of that overspray, because when I move away from the pin, that overlay goes away. Well, at the bottom of my screen, there are some options. And I think the option here called Show Selected Mask Overlay, what that means is show me this overlay even when I'm not hovering over the pin. And that way I can still see where I have overspray and say, oh, maybe I need to get rid of it down here on this bottle and a little more over here. But keep in mind that no one else is going to see this overlay. So I don't have to get that mask to look perfect. I just need to visually look at where did the color not look right and choose erase and get it off of that area so I didn't get overspray. Don't stress about this looking perfect. You can turn off that checkbox again and just look at your image as a whole and say, is there any part that looks messed up? That overlay simply tells you where to evaluate your image to see is it messed up there or not. Now those pins sometimes can feel distracting because on occasion I'll have 4 or 5 of them on my picture because I've adjusted multiple areas, and then when I'm viewing the image they're just distracting. I want to see the image without them. So there is a choice in the lower left. It says Show Edit Pins, and I'm assuming this is the default setting called Always, where if I had adjusted more than one area I'd see more than one pin. I like to change this to the choice called Auto. And what auto means is only show those pins when my mouse is on top of the picture. So if I move my mouse out of the image to the adjustment sliders, I don't see those pins covering up my picture. But then I just move my mouse on top of the image, the pin shows up. So let's take a look at what we can do with this and other things. For now, since I only needed to adjust that particular area, I'm going to hit the Done button. So in this image, we'll just have one adjustment. And let's go look at a different picture. I'll hit the letter G to go to grid, and let's see what else we have. Some of these images that I have already been adjusted, and I'm going to remove the adjustments from those, although one of them I have to be careful with there. I'm just going to right click on the images, choose Develop Settings, and then I can come in here and just say Reset, which means act as if I've never adjusted these or opened them before. Okay, I'll get that one, hit D for Develop. And in here, I think the faces, regardless of what I do with the sliders in my adjustment, sure, I could come in here and grab the shadows and try to bring it up, but I might get other areas, like down here in the dirt, to be too bright. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get exactly what I want. So I might adjust the image as a whole. In this case, bring the exposure down just a tiny bit because I like the sky and the foreground a little better. Maybe bring up clarity to get them to pop. Vibrance. There we go. But I'm a little bit hesitant to do too much with shadows. I might bring out a little bit in the faces, but I don't want the other areas in the background that have shadows to become too bright. So that's when I'm going to switch to the adjustment brush. And with the adjustment brush, it's going to remember whatever I brushed into my image last. It's going to give me the same settings because it's assuming I might